How's that? All right, we're here. Give me a good sound check if you guys can hear me. I got chat going on to my right, so if you can hear it, give me a thumbs up or something. Yay, we got it. All right. So, first time doing any of these live stream type things, so it's a little weird talking to myself in a little black box up there, so forgive the inexperience. And we're going to unbox some stuff today. So what I have on the bench is this pretty white box that arrived. I'm pretty excited to see what's going on in here. But without further ado, if you guys have any questions or any guesses, let me know in the chat. What do you think? What do we have in the box? Sounds good. I appreciate that. What do we have in the box? No guesses. Okay. It's a little cold out here today. I don't know where you guys are. I see Jeremy on, but I know it's pretty cold up there. It's cold down here in the middle of the desert too. It's about 23 degrees this morning and about the same here in the garage, so I'm pretty cold. We got the thick hoodie on today. But hey, what's up, Boothie? Good to see you, buddy. I thought you were going to be out and about, so glad you could join. This is the box we're going to open up. A couple of things here. A printer I'm shipping to you. Maybe we could work something out. This thing should survive, should we choose to do that. It's not a stinger though, so I know that you wanted one of those. That's not what this is. Sunny 0 Celsius. Okay, it's about -4, -5 out here today. We got it a little worse, but you got the white stuff, which I would much appreciate. We just have a lot of brown dirt, scrub brush, cacti, and a bunch of coyotes running around. Even some bobcats. One of my neighbors over here found like a small herd of bobcats that are hanging out and calling her backyard home. So that's pretty fun. Things you see in the desert, I suppose. A ring for your sister. This would be a pretty big ring, I'll tell you that. It would be a very large ring, not likely to be what's in this box. All right. No stinger. Yes, no stinger, no stinger. All right, well, we're not going to keep you guys waiting. I want to kind of get this done because I want to play with this thing today. I only have a little bit of time this morning to be able to even stream at all, so I'm happy to be here. This one is pretty exciting. There's not a lot of these out in the wild. This is a beta machine. So if you're joining later or whatever, this one is not really for sale. You can't really get one of these. It is beta. There may be things that are not exactly right with the config and all that. So I plan to kind of do an unboxing today, give you what I think about it. I'll try to answer any questions if you guys have those kinds of things. But this is not a production ready machine, if you will. What's that say? New car? Probably not a new car. Probably not a new car. Yeah, I don't know. I get pretty lucky to get my hands on stuff that I think is interesting. I have a lot of Borons over there, and there's some rad rigs over there, and some of the mainstream stuff. But I kind of like the interesting stuff. So even if it arrives not working exactly as advertised, and even if it arrives where I need to put in a lot of work to it, it'll take me a long time. I'm a pretty busy guy at work, but I hope to do a couple of these over the next few weeks and see how streaming works. It's a little weird right now, just talking to yourself, but I figured I'd share some cool shit with those that want to see it. So we'll find out. Next project for you, what? A new car? Alright, we're going to get started. We're going to open this up and see what happens. I always wonder about this plastic wrap and how this stuff's going to hold up. I've had some things arrive wrapped like this, and the outer packaging was completely atrocious. The inside box was crushed. Usually they don't handle these very well. But this one does not appear so bad. This one does not appear so bad. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll start on this side. It's already kind of halfway opened here. Just want to make sure that I keep that in frame for you all. But pretty, man, even comes with its own lock of hair. That's interesting. Open it already. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. So again, packaged pretty well. Comes with its own foam, corner protection, and we got one big black case. So if you've watched some other streams lately, you probably have a good idea of what this one is. Lucky winner of the lock of hair. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alright, so what about now? Any guesses? What are we looking at? If you guys have seen some other streams lately, you might have an idea of what this one is. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I also have a positron that comes in a case that is more like a Pelican type case, so one of those hard plastic cases. I'll tell you from initial glance, this case is a lot different than that. This one would be, I guess, more metal. This portion here, this big square, it feels like plastic, but there are metal corners, so that should protect it pretty well from bumps and scrapes. Totally portable. This is about the size. Like it's sometimes hard to tell on a stream for me, so maybe for you as well. But it's not a positron. But this feels like it could be carried around. I honestly would prefer it to be a plastic Pelican case. This one does feel like it could bend a little more and not as secure as a Pelican. But I don't plan to travel with this thing very often. I took the positron on a couple trips already, and I felt like I didn't really use it as much, because not only do you need to carry the case, but then you also need a spool of filament that does not fit in the case, and that can add up and eat up space pretty quickly. So, not a positron. So, let's open it up and see what it is. Another brick of foam. There it is. This is the Mellow M1. So, I'm not sure if everyone in the chat has seen or heard of a Mellow M1. It's a pretty low-key printer. You can't buy it on AliExpress. You can't buy it from Mellow. These are beta machines. If you're familiar with Steve Builds and you watch his stream, he unboxed one of these a couple weeks ago, played with it a little bit, and seemed like it was pretty good for him. I'm kind of having the same thoughts here. Something that I kind of forgot about, and this is definitely going to impact us today. I didn't realize that I needed an adapter. I assumed that they had put one in here that would go with my country, but I'm not going to be able to use this today. So I'll have to go to the store and find something so I can actually plug this in and play with the firmware. So potentially a part 2 to the stream to be able to play with it and print little boats. That's a little bit disappointing, but we'll press on. And don't leave it in the airport. Yeah, don't want to leave it in the airport. But that's some of the stuff it comes with there. So you got the power cord, whatever these things are here. I assume this is some sort of feet, but they are what feel like silicone or silicone feet. But that's that. You've got some bolts. I believe this is part of the spool holder from what I remember, so we'll have to put that together. This is the rest of that spool holder. So that's aluminum, that is metal there, if you can hear that. So we'll need to put that together. Nothing else in there. Then we get down to, oh, there goes the bed. That's cool. So I'm told this is a 120 by 120, so same size as a V0. You can print an entire bore on a V0 and get all of your functional parts out of it. So it's definitely a usable machine. It's just going to take you a while to print an entire printer if that's your thing. But should be pretty good for demo purposes. I tend to do a lot of teaching about 3D printing. I go over to our teen center and teach the high school kids how to 3D print, what it is, what you're able to use it for, and having something small and portable is definitely helpful to teach that class. So a 120 bed by 120 bed is not unusable. It just may be a very niche thing, depending on what you're doing. You haven't seen this machine before? Yep, got it. I've not seen one before in person. This is the first time I've opened this. Literally, you guys saw me unbox it on stream just now. But that's what the bed looks like. That's the bottom of it. So this looks like it would be like a 24 volt or whatever the voltage is on this machine. I would assume it's 24. But make sure you don't touch it. It's going to be hot according to this thing, right? But that's it. Comes with a flex plate. Pretty cool. It's textured. There's a pretty decent designing on here too. So I love the little bit of flavor they put onto it. Put that to the side. This next piece here, this is the power supply. No other information on how big this is or what voltage or amperage it provides, but it's pretty nice. It's beefy. The entire case is CNC'd, so that's pretty nice. Everybody likes some CNC stuff, and they definitely have some of this mellow branding on here. There's a ball detent there, so I would imagine with this connector and this ball detent that's how you would install it. It would just kind of slide into place and lock in somehow, and then the power cord that we can't use would go right there. So I got to figure out a way to adapt this power cable over to US 110. But that's what we're looking at. Yeah, of course I teach kids. It's something I like to do. I'm not a pro streamer. I'm not a influencer of any kind. I don't make money off of 3D printing and building machines necessarily. I do it because it's truly fun. I like talking about it. I like instructing it. I like getting people into the hobby as much as I can. So yeah, I go and teach classes from time to time here in my local community about 3D printing. And the more chances I get to do that, the more that I love it. And sometimes it takes a little bit of giving back and teaching others about what you do to stay engaged and stay motivated to continue to work in your garage late at night by yourself when you're exhausted from, you know, a 60-hour week. It's not always sustainable for me, and sometimes I'll fall off and not really build, or projects will just languish for a while. But giving back, working with those kids and helping other people understand and get excited about 3D printing kind of reinvigorates a little bit. All of that may sound cheesy and corny, but it's absolutely true. That's kind of where I get my fire to continue to push in this hobby, even when I'm overwhelmed with work and don't feel like doing much else. So, yeah, if you can share it, it's good. But that's the power supply. And then the ultimate piece, this is the machine itself. I'm going to move this case down out of the way. But this is the machine. That is an entire package. It's pretty hefty. If I had to say, if I had to use my experience with weightlifting and guess at how much this thing weighs, I think I'd probably say it weighs about 20 pounds. So it's pretty bottom heavy just as it is, and that's before I add this power supply onto it. I'm not teaching them CAD. I am not that good to be teaching CAD. My buddy Boothie on the stream over here, he's the CAD master. If I have questions about it, he's the one that I always kind of go to. Excuse me. And I am not a CAD person. I know enough to be dangerous, is what I like to say. So I can remix stuff pretty easily. I can create simple functional parts. I'd probably say I'm like approaching lower intermediate level, but I am not a CAD master. I don't teach CAD. I don't feel that comfortable with CAD to be able to be an expert in how to do that. Yeah, but what this is, it's like I said, it's about 20 pounds. The cool thing I just noticed is that it's serial numbered. So number Alpha 004. Don't reach out to Boothie. That guy gets slammed with so much stuff all the time. But Jeremy, check it out. I know you just built a box turtle on stream, and that's pretty awesome. But Boothie took the box turtle and completely redesigned it into his own sort of design language. Uses much of the same parts that the original box turtle would use. And so I'm super interested in building one of his. So if you jump in the box turtle channel or server rather, you can find his remix in there under one of the threads, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, number 4. So Alpha 004. I think alpha means like alpha release, even though earlier I did say it was a beta release. I don't know. I don't work for Mello. I don't know their ins and outs of why they would name it that, but this is number 4. So that is really awesome. All of it is CNC'd. This would be the front of the machine if you're looking at it. So a couple of buttons here. This portion seems like it covers one of the motors. That feels like it is SLS. Yeah, that feels like it's SLS. But the casing is all CNC. The surround here is SLS. This plate appears to be brass and it's inlaid, so that's really cool. There's some going around to what would be the right side of the machine. You have a cooling fan here, and I guess all the sticker covers are falling off of the feet here, so I'll pull that off. Those are quite grippy, which is what I would want. Boxer messing around, got it. It's all good. So hopefully this will record, and then you can watch it later if you miss some things because you're dealing with your machines. I get it. I had to turn all of mine off today because I didn't want that noise in the background, and I didn't want to have to be running over there to stop a fail or anything. So nothing is running in the farm right now. But you get this cooling fan, which I would imagine cools whatever electronics are inside, and then this is belted here. That looks like, I don't know, maybe the Y-axis? I don't know. Some labeling talks about the CAN port and then the Z-axis connections right here. So we'll get around to that. Moving around to what would be the back of the machine. You have another CNC bracket, all nice stainless hardware. Very, very beautiful machining all the way through, which probably gives this thing its heft. But you got a few linear rails. These look like MGN 7s. So that would be your Y-axis. And then I'm seeing I guess a translucent type of filament, I would guess PETG. Maybe there's some LEDs in there. But that feels very smooth. Whatever axis this is probably could deal with some tightening, and there's a tensioner right here for that. So we'll go ahead and give that a couple turns. That feels a lot better. I'm just going off a feel here. I'm not breaking out the PF Makes tool to be able to see that. Yes, they are MGM7. How long is the question? Let me grab a ruler. Got my my Voron ruler here, so you know it's good. Yeah, they move very, very smoothly, but if I had to guess the length of that, they are about 140. They're about 140. MGM7 is what it looks like. And if I look down in there, I can sort of see. You may not be able to see this on stream though. I can sort of see the serial number. They appear to be LDO rails, and they look like SLR 9C actually. So they are MGM9, so 9C, with a Z1 preload on them. But they are LDO rails. So I realize I have my head in that shot a little bit. You may not be able to see down in there, but 9 Charlie is what they are. Want to use parts from the V0? I mean, you could definitely do that. I don't know how much of a replica of the flat pack this thing actually is. I have not looked into the flat pack very much at all, other than to share it with you and look at the couple of photos that they have on the Git. But I haven't gone into what the bomb looks like or what they use or any of that. I think maybe this is more inspired by that project. I don't know that it's a complete copy of that project. All right, going around to what would be the left side. You have another motor here. That belt feels pretty tensioned. I can see down inside that there's another motor. That one feels pretty decent. You have another linear rail here. I could see the serial number on that one a lot better. Also an LDO rail, another 9 Charlie, another 9C rail. If you're curious, that one is about 130. Yeah, that one's about 130. You love your Westbourne ruler? So I've got like 5 of these things, because when you order from West 3D, they kind of throw them in the box at certain times of year for free. So these are mostly gifts. I've not bought a single one of these, and there are 2 more in the house. I've got like 3 over to my left in the tool chest right here. So I love these things. They're pretty good. Yep. All right. Some motors here. I would imagine these are for your Z-axis. They're tied together. So one says head tool. I think that means tool head in English. But that's nice that they're connected together, so there's really no way to screw that up or swap them around. It looks like they just kind of plug directly into whatever it goes to. And that does feel like it feels like silicone wire. So that's not FEP or anything like that, but they are very, very flexible. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. A couple more tensioners here if I needed to do so. Very small pancake motors. Those are interesting. I wish I could see what those are, but they are very small. If you guys remember, before we had like NEMA 30, or sorry, yeah, the small round 36 millimeter motors, we used to use these very tiny pancake like NEMA 14s. And that's what this feels like. This feels like it would have came off the H2 extruder. It is so small and thin. Probably 18 deep. 18 millimeters deep on that one. This drive motor is a little thicker. That looks like a 26 maybe. SLS cover here. On the bottom, CNC'd cover. Those are feet, so they give you Give you 4 extras in case you need them, but they did come with feet installed there. I can see an SD port right there, but then there's another one to the right that already has an SD card installed. There's a USB-C right there. I'll be interested to play with that a little later. But that's really cool. What size are the motors? Jeremy, I don't know, man. They're this motor, which I'm not even sure what axis that is. Maybe the Y? This motor, I think I said, is about 18 millimeters thick. This one is about 26 millimeters thick. And then you have a big chunky boy down in there. That's also a NEMA 14, and that one would be, I think that's a full-size NEMA 14, so it's like 38 millimeters. It's hard to get down in there, but 38 to 40 millimeters on this guy. There's a screen here, and that's pretty cool. And a very tiny cooling fan. I think this one is a 3010. Let's get the small guy out. Yeah, that's a 3010 blower on that. Not a big fan of right angle USB connections. Okay. Trying to figure out how to untransformer this thing. Ooh, that slides out. Okay. So you guys saw there are no instructions in the box. I don't have a website to go to. I don't have a PDF that they sent me. I've got nothing to tell me how to use this thing at all, other than just trying to figure it out and not break stuff. What controller board? I don't know. I haven't opened it up. If you really want me to open it, I think we could probably do that. I am a little nervous about taking stuff apart and putting it back together. I'm really bad at doing that. Usually when I take stuff apart, I get distracted or I get called away to do something else that, you know, takes priority, and then it will take me 2 to 3 weeks to even come back to that, and then by then I've forgotten where I was and what I was doing. So I'm a little hesitant to do that, but I will if you guys want. I think right now I just want to figure out how to open it, and I'm not really sure how that happens. I think I want to say maybe this comes off and then this slides out. I'm going to do that. No, not now. It appears on E, single bolt to release and rotate and then reinsert. Yeah, don't do that? Okay. Well, so here's the thing. We're not going to be able to use this today anyway because of the power cord situation. But I think this comes off of here. And that's a bracket that kind of just held in this motor. So we're going to take that off. I'll put that over there. And that should allow this to come out. I think these need to move. Maybe? They feel notched, but I don't know what they are. Because I can't get the on look at the other unboxing, 1 bolt to release. Okay, so I just did that. I think that's what you mean. But these are in the way. So maybe I'm meant to do that a little bit, so this will come out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so now we have what would be the entire gantry out. Did it come with documentation? No, absolutely no documentation whatsoever. There's no PDF guide. I don't have a link to a special website that would tell me what to do. There's none of it. This thing just showed up, and I was told that if I had questions or problems to go to a Discord and ask questions in there. I'm doing this real time, so I'm not on Discord asking those questions. Maybe I'll do that after if I can't figure it out. But what I'm seeing is a couple more rails on the Z-axis. I'm seeing another for the X. So that means the ones on the side of the machine here are your Y-axis. On the Z-axis, these are MGN 9C rails as well. There's a CNC portion in between the two that they are screwed into. So that would be very difficult to reproduce without a lot of remixing. On your X, this does look like your X motor here. It's belt driven down to this pulley that is on an axle that goes through and then transmits to the back side where you have a belt. Where you have another belt that controls your X. Okay, so that is a NEMA 17 on the X, a mellow motor. But it's made by LDO, so it's an LDO 42 ST, and then the bracket covers really a lot of the rest of it. But it's a very small LDO motor. You have another one here for your NEMA 36, so this is a 36 STH20 1004 Alpha Hotel Golf motor, so the same kind of motor. I think it's only a 17 though. It doesn't look very deep, but how much do you really need for something this small? Oh, MGM9s, yes, a job for shiny. I would challenge you to do that, Steve. I would love to see you make a replica of this on the shiny, because while I'm a fan of black, I like black a lot, I prefer shiny over black. So if I could take this apart and strip all the anodizing off of it and then reassemble and have it be full aluminum, I think that would be fantastic. I'm not doing that, but it would be cool if we could. Alright, again, all CNC brackets here, so even these belt retainers are CNC'd. I'm seeing the wire management here. This is all CNC'd. CNC brackets here, CNC tensioner on the X, CNC'd X-axis arm, CNC mounts. So there's really no reason to have any sort of rigidity problems with this. This is about the best you're going to be able to do with a cantilever style machine. Now the hot end is large for such a small machine, but it doesn't feel any heavier than I don't know, maybe a Soul or some other lightweight tool head. I'm looking in there and I see this appears to be kind of an offshoot of what the VZ extrudor would be. So I'm seeing a lot of mellow parts in this thing. Running 230 volt, or is there a switch? I haven't seen a switch. So this is the power supply. It's a full CNC case. So I don't see any switch at all. I don't know if there's something internal on the board that does that switching on its own. But right now I'm not seeing a switch where I could flip it to B110. I like metal as well. There's a lot of SLS on this. So the filament runout sensor, I believe that's what that is. That is SLS. I think you can also buy that from Mello if you get the extrudor. And I believe that's what that is. This portion here, whatever this, so it looks like a strain gauge. Here, let's see if I turn that around. So on this tool head, it appears that that's a strain gauge. So there's no probe, no beacon, or anything like that. That does appear like a strain gauge. So it tells me that it probably uses the nozzle to bed level. They've previously ran filament through this. I could see some blue on the nozzle tip there. And that does appear to be a hardened steel nozzle. So the hot end itself is very difficult to see, but let me move this all the way out. So that looks like a copper heatsink. A lot of the beams on the flat pack appear to be, yeah, so I think that's how it started. the Z-axis on this one is not 15-15. This is much tighter, so the rails are closer together this way than you could get on a 15-15 extrusion. These are approximately 6 millimeters apart. So it's going to be a little tighter. Maybe you get a better Z-axis if you space them out further. That could be a thing. So maybe the flat pack is more stable in the Z. Who knows? You have to let me know. Looks solid. Yeah, it is. Everything is CNC'd on it. But talking about the hot end, it looks like it's sort of decoupled here, like a Next G would be. So you have that independent movement. Everything looks like it is copper all the way up to the extruder. There's brass gears in the extruder, and then down inside I'm seeing the double gear Bondtech type gears inside. So that looks like it's using what's it called, a rigda that you would get from Bondtech, where the gear is actually mounted to the shaft and everything is attached to the 52 drive gear. So that's pretty cool. I shouldn't really see any wobble or extruder based impacts with something like that, so that's pretty exciting. SLS all around, fan shroud is SLS. I would worry about this cooling. It's only a 3010, so that's not a lot of cooling, so I'm probably going to be limited on speed just due to that. But it's SLS, so if we wanted to print something bigger and design something a little different, I'm sure we could do that and incorporate that into the package. I want to see what they're running for a hot end here, so I'm going to take the shroud off. This feels like the same that you would find on a Bamboo Lab, so I have a few of those spare. If I destroy this thing, I'll just throw one of those on. But this looks very similar to what a Bamboo Lab would have. So you have that that little plate heater in there. The nozzle does appear replaceable, and I'm familiar with enough of Mello's products to know that they sell what they call the TZ hot end for the Bamboo Lab that has sort of replaceable nozzles in it. So you can get CHT versions, you can get copper versions. This appears to be a hardened steel one. But if you have a Bamboo Lab or one of the newer machines that use that style of plate heater, that's exactly what this is. So parts should be available to replace that if you needed. Let's get that back on there. Alright, I think we got that back on there, right? Sort of. Alright, there we go. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. My big meaty fingers don't get in there very well. Oh, I just noticed there's another 3010 fan on the back. So there's dual part cooling on this. I didn't realize that they were back to back. So there are two 3010 fans providing cooling here. Could be a Delta fan for speed. Maybe. I don't know that they would spend that kind of money on something like this, but they have CNC'd everything, so maybe they did. Looks like some sort of tool board behind this heatsink here. I can see the motors plugged in there, and then the gantry wiring comes through this cable tray and then goes to the rest of the machine down inside of this box here. So that's that. There is a screen on the front of this. I'm going to leave the cover on that so I don't mess it up, but that's pretty cool. So that's that. Let's figure out how this goes together. I'm seeing a sort of like dovetail here and a dovetail matching piece on this. So I think I want to say that goes together, but I need to move this. So that's pretty cool. They have this. They have the Z-axis on a knob so that you can raise the Z with this knob. My only gripe is that it's very tiny, and being so cold out here, it's kind of hurts to turn this thing. Job for a Nomi? Yeah, I think this may be a version of a Nomi. I don't know. I haven't turned it on yet. I hope it is. Because, I mean, it does have a display at the front. But I don't know what that display shows. I would imagine it's some sort of mellow fly pie or something. So it's probably got the pie built into the display. I'm thinking of that because the packaging is so small. Like, there's literally not any room anywhere inside the base. This is the bottom plate. Like, there's nothing in there. Maybe this is some sort of converter behind this injection molded cover here, but that is not even accessible. And then the only place I could see that would even be able to take a any kind of main board or Raspberry Pi, this is running Clipper, so it needs some sort of Pi, is in there. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe all of in here is like a Mellow Fly Pi screen, because it has it all built in. The other boxing showed Clipper screen on the main display. Okay. So I should have Clipper screen here, and then Nomi type information on this guy. I'm cool with that. Just want to figure out the rest of this. So I'm gonna put these back to where it goes, because I believe that's what holds the bed in. Yep. And these are not printed. These are some sort of like phenolic block. Those have to be machined out of like some sort of composite material or whatnot. But I'll tell you, every single one of these are loose. So I'm just make sure those are tight. And then I believe the gantry goes in here, so I'm going to loosen that so we have some space. And we're going to add this in like so. That makes sense to me. And then if I tighten this, it should line that up. Oh yeah. That's pulling it in and pulling it back level with the rest. Alright, get rid of this. So that's it. That's it assembled. So that was pretty cool. There's only an M3 screw here that locks that dovetail into place on the y-axis. And then we have the bed that's magnetic, and that looks like it slides in sort of like that, I think. There we go. Something like that. Tell you, I'm not a huge fan of how that connects. It's not a locking connector of any kind on the bed itself. It looks like the pins sort of slot into a receptacle, but it's not locking at all, and there's no definite click. The only click I'm getting is from the magnets that hold it in place. So that's interesting. Cool little unit, yeah. Where's Brittany? I called her before stream to see if she was going to come on, and she said something about being busy or whatever, breakfast. I don't know. It's always my luck, right? Like, I find the girl of my dreams, this hot chick, and turns out she's got a boyfriend or she's married. Like, never fails. So Brittany's busy. I don't know. We'll have to work on our relationship and work on our communication. Upgrade the dovetail to M5s. That would be cool. There's not a lot of space in there. So that's the M3 that is connecting things together. It felt pretty solid to me. I don't know that it needs to be an M5, but if you were to put one there, this lock would need to be larger, which means this cutout would need to be larger. Then you're running into other space. So you'd have to redesign this entire bracket and lock system to be able to accept an M5. Everything else on this machine is an M3, so that would probably be the only M5 on the whole machine. And if I'm looking at what a bomb would be, I like to use one tool or two tools. I don't want to have everything under the sun just to be able to assemble and disassemble a machine. So I'm a fan of a clean, minimized bomb. Alright, so that's that. I really so much want to turn this thing on, but we are not going to be able to do that. I got to figure out a solution today. Okay, so, and then I'm going to plug in the other stuff here. Yep, so that only goes in one way, which is pretty nice. And then, while I'm looking at this, I just noticed that kind of, this would be the front of the machine. So, I'm not seeing that side screen at all. Not that you would need to, because you do have a display on the front of that. A lot of stress on an M3? I mean, not really, in my opinion. We'll get to that here in a second. But I'm more worried, like, I feel like I would want to see this, but it's printing sideways, and that's not normal to me. And I want to see, like, the front of the machine. So I would love that this would be rotated that way, but I realize that would change the whole geometry. So you're going to have a choice. If this does get released, this becomes an item that you can buy, you're going to have to make a choice whether or not you want to view this way, and this is the, quote, front of the machine for you, or if this is the front of the machine for you, and you use the smaller display there. I'm choosing to do this, and that's going to be my thing. But whatever you do, you're not going to be able to see this really nice numbered serial here. I wish that was on the front. I wish that was on the front. Anyway, that's it assembled. So talking about this dovetail thing, a lot of stress on it or whatever for the M3. I don't think so, because that dovetail locks down into another CNC bracket. That M3 screw and additional CNC piece only secures it down so it doesn't wobble. So it's not under really any stress. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Install this power supply module now. There's a lot of space down in there. You could probably put, I don't know, at least a Pop-Tart, maybe some Skittles down in there. If you're on the road, need a snack, you could definitely put some stuff down in there. Let's see. What do we got? We got some glue. That'll fit down in there. What else? Any fans of Magic Goo? Probably take a bottle of Magic Goo with you. Alright, power supply. Use it diagonally. I mean, that's an option. I also thought about, so I'm a car guy, right? And when you go to car shows, a lot of times you'll see people put mirrors down at the edge of the car so you can see underneath without having to get down on your hands and knees. Maybe we set up a mirror so you can see the side of this thing without having to turn your head or place it diagonally. Yes, it would. Stout piece. That would only need the M3 to hold in place. Dovetail solid. I agree deeply. That one is, it's fine for me. I think if you see it in person, it's a little different than you would see it on stream. I think it's fine. I don't expect to have any issues with that. If I get this thing working at all, because again, I'm still pretty tied up over that power cord being what it is. Anyway, this power connection seems to be the same as the one for the bed. I don't know how secure that will be, but we do have this nub, so maybe that's going to help us out. This goes, oh yeah, oh that goes in with a nice snap, so that feels pretty good. And then that really finishes off the front of that machine. That doesn't connect in any way that I can tell. What I'm worried about is this bracket that we had to take off to remove the gantry. What do I do with this when I'm done? There's no place to store it, you know? So I feel like I would lose this pretty quick, or at very least that screw. So I don't know what I would do with this when I've got the machine going. We have to figure out some sort of system to hold that somewhere. I'm looking around to see if I can find a place that it would make sense to go, but I don't see it. I don't see where it would go. Does the small display rotate? Not physically. Rob, you want one? Dude, I don't know if these are ever going to be released. I don't know that there will ever be a sale page for you to buy one. I don't know any of that. I know that right now you can't buy one. I hate loose parts. Same. I'm going to have to find a place to put that because I will definitely lose it. You could argue, oh, just put it back in the case. Cool. I would want it on the machine somewhere. That way it's handy because I have to disassemble this anyway to put it back into transformer mode to put it in the case. So I would rather just have that on the machine at the ready. But that's that. I connected the hot end and the Z-axis there. And unfortunately, I think that's about all we're going to be able to do on this one. I'm really sad I can't turn it on. And I don't know that assembling a spool holder is valuable entertainment worth your time this morning. Do you not bolt the bracket before inserting the PSU? No, Steve, so the that bracket here, let's take this power supply back off. That bracket goes, man, this is really on there. Let's take this bed off. There we go. So that bracket, there's a small hole right here. This bracket, when the gantry is in, this bracket bolts on like that to hold the motor in and to hold the gantry into the internals of the machine. So if I were to put this on, the PSU could not go on. So, yeah. And then this just holds on with tension, really. I don't see a place to add that bracket later. So once this goes on, it's kind of on. I wish that was a little more intuitive to put that in there, but that's probably the best way I know how, like that. And then probably I would put the bed on last, is what it seems like to me. Yep, and that goes like that. And that's your machine. Cool. So that's the first look at this thing. I'm going to have to do another stream to be able to show this thing off. I'm going to run to the store here a little bit. It's still not even 8 o'clock where I'm at, so nothing's really open yet on a Sunday. But I got to find something to be able to use this. Otherwise, I think my option B would be to cut the end of this off and just solder on a 110 adapter. I don't want to do that, but if worse comes to worse, that's what I'm going to do. That's really disappointing. Anyway, so I'm seeing something else in the box. Hold on. What is this? What is this? Alright, so I noticed out of the corner of my eye that there were some other things. So you get some tools in here. I'm going to trash these because I have my own. But it does come with a set of Allen keys and then a set of like actual keys. I have no idea what these are for. Or like I didn't even notice an area where they would insert. That is weird. I have no idea. I have no clue. That is wild. Oh, this Z-screw too. I guess that's something we could talk about. Case for the case. Oh, locking tabs on the case. Yeah, yeah, good point. Good point. Thanks for that. Deeply is a smart man. Smart person. I don't know if you're a man, but smart person. Yeah, keys for the case. Yeah, this lead screw is not an 8mm lead screw. That looks very small. Briefcase. Yeah. That's like a 4 or 5mm lead screw, and the thread pitch on that is crazy. That looks like a 2-turn pitch. Boothie beat you by a second? Yeah. Yep, he sure did. I tell you, Steve's a smart dude. That guy runs circles around me every day. Very productive guy, too. Like, I'll turn around and he'll have an entire thing set up. Check the required voltage. I don't know how to do that. There's nowhere that it says anything about what the voltage is. On the plug itself, it does say 10 amp 250 volt. And I can see the live neutral ground symbols on there. But on the machine itself, it doesn't tell me what that voltage is. I would have to go into the power supply and figure that out. I mean, I guess we could do that real quick. We could take this off and take a look and see what it says. Alright, we'll move him over there. We got the power supply. Let's open this up and see if we can answer that question. On the CAD lead screw is 8. Probably on the flat pack. This is not the same thing. I think it's inspired by the flat pack. I don't know that it's a clone of the flat pack. And I'll tell you that is not an 8mm lead screw. Here, I'll show you for comparison. One second. Alright. So I don't have a lead screw on hand, but I do have an 8mm rod. And if I look at... Oh, man. That's pretty heavy. If I look at that lead screw... See if we can move this up a little more. That's all good, 3D Wolf. Welcome in, brother. We already got all the hard work done. We've already unboxed this thing and looked at it. So if you're interested, you have to go back and catch the stream. What we're talking about right now is the size of this lead screw. So this is an 8mm rod, and if I place that next to, or as close as I can to that Z lead screw, you'll notice that they are clearly not the same size. That one is a lot smaller. I really think it's like a 4 mil. Anyway, we were opening up the power supply to check the voltage. More room on the flat pack. Yeah, I think that's probably it. It's probably a little better too. Just from a sturdiness standpoint. Can go 115, lower voltage, just... Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you went the opposite way, it'd be a problem. We'd break some stuff. But going 240 down to 110, probably not going to be an issue. It would take longer for the heaters to heat up and things like that. I've done that before. But it should not break anything. Alright, so there's your power supply and what it looks like on the inside, if you're curious. I don't want to go sticking my fingers in there because I don't know what may have a charge and what doesn't. Power supplies are always... should always be careful with them. But I can see inside... Here, let's use this. I can see... It's an IEC 60950-1. So if anybody knows what that is, that's what I can see. There's a Morrison label right here, and that looks to be a LOF 225, so probably a 225 watt, and then a 20B 24, so probably 24 volt. It does say 100 to 240 on it, so that leads me to believe that it's going to auto switch depending on what voltage you feed it. So if we're worried about voltage, I don't know that it's a problem. Cool. And I do like that there's a cooling fan in there. That's nice to see. Although I don't know that this direction is cooling much of anything, but it's there. So might be auto switching. Yeah, I think it is. It does say that the input is let's see, input 100 to 240, and that writing is very small. And then output, let's see, output is 200 to 240. Yeah. 24 volt. Yeah, so we can take both inputs. It tells me that on the label here. So that's really cool. I wish all power supplies were like that. I mean, I get why they're not expense and whatever, but if they could be auto switching and I don't have to remember to go back and flip a switch, it's just one more thing that makes it a little nicer as an end user. All right. Any other questions on this before we close her back up? It's a very nice package. Very nice, tidy package. Yeah, I'll be careful. But here's the thing. If we blow it up, then we blow it up. It's the cost of learning things. Try not to blow it up. That's not the goal. But if we do, it will be in the pursuit of knowledge. These were not very tight when I took them apart, so I'm not going to put them on very tight. Probably slightly more than finger tight. It is CNC'd, so I don't want to strip things out because I can't replace it. Alright, that's that. Back in action. Okay. That's about all we're going to be able to stream today. I don't necessarily have anything else that I can do with this without a converter of some type. I do want to get it printing, so if that happens today or tomorrow afternoon, I'll be sure to post on all my socials about maybe a short or something like that, maybe a quick overview of what we're able to do with this if I get it powered. But that is a connection that I am not familiar with, and I don't know where I would be able to find something to convert that over. If you build one of these, might be tempted to use a spare 200. Okay, that'd be cool. That's basically what this is, but in a very, very small package. I want to say, so owning a positron, and then also before positron became a kit, I got all of the BOM for that, and they had a really small power supply that was super tidy, about the same size as this, on that BOM. So if you're wanting to keep things a lot smaller and tidy, because I know how you are, Steve, you may look into picking up one of those. I'll send you the specs on Discord about what that power supply is, but it's very small. I never got around to using it or building it because the positron kit came out before I could start that project, but I still have the BOM sitting over here on the shelf. So I'll dig around, see if I can find that power supply for you, and if so, I'll send it to you. Can't leave us suspended now. I'm not trying, man. Like I literally cannot power this thing on. Like I have no way to do that, so I don't have a choice. So like I said, go to the socials, Instagram, TikTok will have it. I'll post it on Twitter. Hell, I'll even do Facebook. But I want to show this thing off. I want to show it printing. I want to play with it a little bit. I just don't have a way to do that right now without a converter for this power cord. Yeah, no problem. I like sharing. This was pretty fun. We've been going about an hour. I may do this every week. We'll see. This is pretty cool. I typically build a lot of things. So future projects, there's a rat rig over there I need to build. There's a Micron I need to update and refresh. There's a tool changer over there. What else? I don't know. We got some other things. Yeah, of course. If you guys want to see a positron, we can open that guy up and play with that. But as far as the M1, I'm kind of done on that one. Can't really play with anything else. Type 1 AU plug. Amazon sells adapters. Okay. The tool changer? Yeah, the tool changer. In the back of my mind all the time. I think I'm a little more interested in the Rat Rig IDEX right now because the tool changer is massive and I don't have a place for that. That thing is the size of a Magneto X. It uses the same dimensions of the build plate, so it's 300 in X. Oh, sorry, 400 in X, 300 in Y. So it's a wide boy, and I don't have a shelf space for that right now. I need to get rid of some things. I need to offload some printers to those good homes out there that may exist, and then we could talk about tool changers and whatnot. I'm really excited for that one though. I can't afford the space. More streams to come. Yeah, I think so. I don't like Twitch, I'll be honest with you. It's more gamer, I would guess. The things falling on the screen and sounds going off all the time is super distracting. I think I'm probably going to stick to YouTube because this was not as terrible as I thought it might be. And if I can continue going early morning and deconflict with everybody else and just sit here and talk shit and build cool stuff, I'm cool with that. I'm out here a lot of times by myself anyway, so why not? More screens. Meaning what? You want like a close-up? What are you asking? Oh, more streams. Okay, gotcha. I'll do my best. Keep me honest. I know you will. Doing well. I don't know about that. Alright, so unless there's something else that you guys want to see or another project that maybe is interesting to you, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on what you would want to see next. Two totally different styles. Yes. I'm glad that you stream on Twitch, Kilo, but I cannot. That's not my thing. I barely have time to do this. I started at 7 a.m. for a reason. So, we'll see. Actually, here, I'll tell you what. Let's take 5 minutes and put this thing back in the box so we could talk about how easy or difficult that may be. Cerobo? Yeah, there's a Cerobo back there. That thing, I'll tell you, it's okay. It's an open frame Voron, so really only good for PLA PET G, which I don't print a lot of. So I haven't really spent a lot of time with that. It's over there. I haven't turned it on in probably a year. And then with the move and everything, it has not been a priority for me. Tool changer. I would love to see you guys build a tool changer. The one that I have though is a ProForge 4. Yeah, ProForge 4. So if you want to Google that one, that's the version that I have. It's a 5 tool, I believe, and it's more of a traditional tool changer. It's not a convert, so it's not buying one kit and then adding a bunch of tool heads and making it a different kit. This was always a tool changer, and it's clipper based. Uses a standard like docking mechanisms. It's more like what the Prusa is in the sense that it's a traditional locking tool changer type thing, not a stealth changer or any of the other ones that we're kind of hearing about and used to right now. Alright, let's get this back in the box. So we'll put these back in here. Useless power cord. back in here. Tools, worthless, keys. Be cool to see the ProForge 4. So here's the thing about ProForge. They came out on Kickstarter back in, I don't know, maybe 2021, I think, maybe early 22, and I bought their ProForge 3, which was not a tool changer. It was a Core XY kit, and this is before LDO started selling kits and kit builds became super popular. So I got one of those and I built that, and it worked great. It had great part cooling. The only complaint I really had about it was that the chamber itself didn't seal very well, so they didn't use any foam in between the panels. And not only that, but the panels were cut to inside of the extrusions, not to the outside. So there was nothing sealing it. There was always, a 1/4 inch gap around every edge of the panel. So it didn't heat up very well. So even with that machine, it was not really made for ABS. I could convert it to do so, and later on MakerTech is the company. MakerTech decided that they would release an upgrade kit, and they released the 3.5 upgrade, and so that added 2020 extrusions to the top halo instead of being sheet metal, and that really stiffened up the machine. But the electronics in it are still pretty old. I think I posted a story about it on Instagram a while ago, trying to refresh it and get it up to a 3.5 spec. But that heating problem still exists. So I just need to link up with Happy and see if we can get some custom panels cut. It's not a big deal, but it's also not a priority for me. So I need to finish that build. I tried to go down the rabbit hole of putting a VZ tool head on it. It became a little more complicated than what I wanted, so I may just return it to stock and call it good, because the stock tool head did use a lot of metal bracketry to hold things together, and I think that's probably better than the printed parts I was planning to use. It has a Revo V6 on it. They did use a V6 at the time, which is not great, doesn't flow that well, especially on a Core XY. And so even with a high flow Revo on there, you're only going to get like maybe 15 or 16 cubic. So we'll see. Yeah, a Prusa would be great. The XL is pretty cool. I had one on pre-order, and then when they started delaying this thing and delaying this thing and delaying this thing, the more I learned about it, the more I was kind of like, what would I use it for? It'd be great to have, it'd be great to use, it'd be great to borrow if there's a loan program out there, but it's not something that I would use day to day. I don't do a lot of multicolor. I don't do a ton of multi-material either, and so really it would be a little bit of a novelty, but I am interested in having the reliability that Prusa offers. And actually right behind me I have a hand-me-down Mark III's that I got from a buddy, and I need to refresh that thing. It's pretty old. It's got a couple thousand hours on it, and I need to refresh that. I think I'm gonna do a bare build, so maybe that's a stream too. We'll do a bare build. Happy is great, yeah. So can you mod it fairly easily? I think you're talking about modding the ProForge. Is that the question? The ProForge can be modded-ish. Like I said, it uses a gantry that is not a 2020, so it's not a normal machine in that sense. They use simply a MGM 12 rail, sorry, a 9C rail across the top, and that is bolted down to a laser cut steel bracket, and then that bracket also locks into the Y carriages as well. So it's a little unique in that sense, and not as easy to mod as you would think. It's back when we really started using 2020 for everything, and I mean even the base of it is laser cut steel. It's not even a framed base. All the electronics are underneath. It uses an SKR2, if you can believe it, with a motor expansion port. So it doesn't even use a modern main board, and I kind of like that because I don't know if I'm going to keep the machine. I think I may get it back in running order and then donate it to the teen center over here who has a need for a 3D print space, and they're looking to update their machines. The funding of that is pretty difficult for them. So maybe I donate this ProForce 3.5 to them, and they can use it more than I can. It'll give me space for a tool changer too. Still rock your 2.5. Okay. Okay. Bragging rights, yes. XL is bragging rights. It's one of those deals, right? So I used to own a GTR, a Nissan GTR, so Godzilla, right? And I tell you, it pulled in more dudes looking at this car than it ever did chicks. And that's kind of what a Prusa would be. Pull in all the nerds to talk about Prusa and a tool changer and all this thing, and I'd have, you know, a line of people outside trying to see what nerdy projects I got going on. Not really my thing, but yeah, it would definitely pull in some attention. All right, a pellet printing. That would be interesting. I feel like that would be more for like a manufacturing type person that prints a lot, and they print a lot of big stuff. But now with, you know, 5 kilo spools and sometimes 3 kilo spools, pellet printing makes a lot less sense unless you're using big fat nozzles on big giant printers that can handle that sort of thing. I don't know if that's what you do, 3D Wolf, but if you do, I'd love to see that. Keela, if you want that XL, just have Jeremy buy it for you. Tell him to work 70 hours a week like the rest of us. Stop playing around on the internet. Alright. Yep, so we just unloosened that M3 that everyone was concerned about, and then this became super free, and then we just lift that out of there. Make sure to unplug your cabling, and then we have a free access here. If I remember right, this goes this way, and we need to move the Z back down to make that a reality. Stay tuned, upcoming. Okay. So if you're not in manufacturing and you're doing other stuff, like, why would you want a pellet printer? Like, what's the need for the pellet printer? Is it just because the material is cheaper? But then are you limited to color choice? Use a drill? Dude, if I had a drill out here right now, I would definitely do that. Unfortunately, the knob on the end of this is slightly bigger than the chuck would take. That is it's like a 10 millimeter end on there, but using a drill is a great idea. I'll look into that. Grins and giggles, yeah. So that goes all the way down. Still a student? That's cool, man. We're all students. The day that you stop learning is the day that nobody can tell you anything, and you become closed-minded and not open to new ideas. So if you're still a student, that's great. Stay a student for the rest of your life, and you'll be okay. Alright, moving the bed mounts out of the way. Socket adapter. That could work, except it's not. It's a rounded shape. So I would need to clamp something on the Z drive to be able to move that. Oh, this would easily be able to be remixed into some larger knob. The problem is when the motor travels up with the Z-axis, anything larger may contact the pulley that's here, or contact the housing of the motor. So it's small to get around those limitations, but I could definitely see like a take on, take off kind of thing that may work. We'll explore that in the future. Finally becoming available for private people thanks to a German company. Okay. I like German companies. Yeah, so I think that goes in like that. This wiring goes in here. I do like that it's a compact package. Like truly, it just kind of fell right into place. And then we take our bracket we were talking about earlier, and that just kind of goes on here and holds everything in. So I just want to make sure I get that seated appropriately, because it looks like it's a little high. Okay, so the Z-axis needs to move up. I had it all the way down, and here I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's this slot here that the back of this cable run needs to go into, and so I need to have this in a certain position to be able to make that happen. I'm just trying to figure that out. So something like that. Man, that is tight. Print Shore 0, 30, and everything in between. Okay. I'm not gonna leave you suspended. I know you don't want me to. I can say what? Yeah. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, but alright, so I think that goes in just like that. I don't know that I can push it any more, but it doesn't. The bracket doesn't fit where it's supposed to fit, so I'm not sure what I did wrong. I think this goes more to the left, so maybe it does go all the way down. There we go. Alright, there it is. So Z-axis does need to go near to the bottom, and then that'll finally slip in. I was hitting this kind of ramp on this jut out part, and it wasn't allowing that, so it should be good now to put that where it needs to be. There we go. Just like that, and things are tidy once again. Nice. Super excited for this kit, guys. This is a really nice, nicely built, nicely CNC'd machine, and I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the first one that came with its own serial number. Usually I have to do a lot of work before I get a serial number, but I get one out the box on this. This year's going to be crazy. Why? I mean, if you're in the U.S., I kind of have a feeling why, but I don't think you're in the U.S., are you? Got a whole 7 people on stream. That's awesome. That's like 7 more than I thought would show up. I was going to talk to myself for an hour. But we've been going about an hour and a half, so we're going to box this thing up. We're going to close the stream down. I think the next one will probably be, let's see, possibly Friday morning, maybe Saturday morning. We'll see. Friday or Saturday, depending on what the family needs to do. But if you keep an eye on the channel, I'm sure you'll get a notification. I'll set that up sometime today. or tomorrow, and we'll do this again. By then I should have some sort of adapter. So thank you for the person that was talking about it, the Type 1 AU adapter. I'll go see if I can find one of those and get one here. So we definitely need that before I can do the stream again. But the next one will be looking at this thing from that perspective and playing with it and see how well it prints. Maybe we'll get into a little bit of the firmware side so I can show you guys what that looks like. And we'll go from there. I'm sure there are things that I'm not going to like that I will have to change in there just to make it functional and usable. But we'll try to do a print as built without changing anything. And then if we need to, we can go a different direction. All right. That doesn't fit as nicely as it did when it came out. But that's all right. This moves back. There we go. There we go. So there it is, all boxed up if you missed it in the early part of the stream. But that's what it looks like. Only missing the spool holder parts. I'll put that in there and that in there. And that's that. So next stream will be next weekend sometime, either Friday or Saturday. I have a 4-day weekend off from work. I'm sure that 1 or 2 of those days I'm still going to have to work anyway. But I do plan to stream again to show you guys what this looks like. Let's see. Great stream. Won't leave you hanging. Okay, I appreciate that. We'll see you guys on the next one. And if you have any questions, hit me up on Discord or any of the socials. I'll try to answer questions and whatnot. But this is really fun. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out to the first stream. This is always, you never really know how it's going to turn out, and I had a good time. I didn't expect to go an hour and a half, so that's pretty awesome. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. We'll talk after the stream, but we'll see you guys on the next one.